Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be the first weekly vlog of a 2-week series of the Reading for Maui Readathon, where we are raising money for relief for the people of Maui because there have been very devastating fires there. Details will be linked below. I am very frazzled today because we are making an unplanned trip up to Spokane where we are remodeling a house for my brother and another family member to live in because we just had some permits come through and we're gonna have it inspected sooner than we thought, so we have to be there to let them in. So we're packing all of a sudden, and also all of a sudden this readathon was dropped on us because it's a spur of the moment readathon because the people need help spur of the momently, and I found out about it yesterday, last night specifically, and made a little announcement video about it and put something on Instagram and Twitter. So I've got an audiobook. We're reading books by Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders, and also books that have to do with climate change and climate action because the wildfires are basically caused by climate change, and specifically by loss of the wetlands on Maui because of colonization, which would have kept the land and the air much more moist and much less likely to light on fire. So those are the types of books we're reading. I've got an audiobook on the go for the drive. I've got one physical book, several more incoming, and then I've got a couple of ebooks ready to go. So I will tell you about them as I read them. It's Norbert! Hello, Norbert. Hello. Yeah. Unfortunately, I thought my audiobook was downloaded, but it wasn't actually downloaded. Hello, Norbert. Yeah. You're so handsome. You got chubby cheeks because you were not fixed until you were an adult. Yes. So I didn't get to read my audiobook. From the library, I have Mihi Ever After by Tay Keller, illustrated by Geraldine Rodriguez. So I'll probably start that and I will try again to download my book. Oh, it's my birthday. I did get a blizzard cake, which I would not have gotten if I realized how much inflation had occurred since the last time we bought one. It was expensive for just an 8-inch. Just celebrated with me, my parents, and my brother up here. I met up with my sister yesterday because her birthday is the same day as mine. So we celebrated together yesterday. My gifts are back in my hometown, so there's only 3 of them, so I'll show you them tomorrow. They are very fun. Now I'm going to show you some of the work going on in the basement. So it's the 15th, and today I patched a couple holes in the wall that had been created by the plumber and electrician. Probably that part was the electrician. Did a somewhat hash job of it, so I'm not really pleased with what I did. And then there's part of it that requires brute strength, which I do not have. At least I have more of it than my mom, but less of it than my dad, so I wasn't able to do that. So I'm not as helpful as I would like to be. I will be very helpful when it comes time to mud the drywall, because I'm better at that than anyone in my family. But I also read Mihi Ever After by Tay Keller and illustrated by Geraldine Rodriguez. I did really enjoy the illustrations, and this I would say is on the younger side of middle grade. I don't think they're in middle school yet. They still have playground recess Do they have that in middle school? I don't know, I was homeschooled. So the characters are like 10 or so, and they act fairly young and talk fairly young. And this is about Mihi, who's, at least one of her parents, I think, is from Korea, and she loves princesses and playing princess. And the story starts when her best friend doesn't want to play princesses anymore, and so she climbs an apple tree to try to get an apple to play Snow White by herself, and gets in trouble and has to go to indoors recess in a library where she meets her two cohorts, and they open a refrigerator to get some candy in the librarian's break room, and it's a Narnia closet that goes into the land of fairy tales, specifically Cinderella, Snow White, the Three Bears, Sleeping Beauty, that type of fairy tale. And they have some adventures, and things go awry, and characters in fairy tales are not very nice people necessarily, and it's very cute and has some nice little moral things for kids about when you know better, do better. You can be anything you want to be, that kind of thing, because she has felt, and these three girls have felt, like they can't be princesses, mostly for racial reasons, because Mulan and Tiana are the only Disney princesses who represent them, and so racially, and that makes them and people around them think that they can't be princesses. So yeah, it's very sweet and cute, and a lot about friendship. And yeah, it does definitely skew younger, so 8-year-olds who are pretty good at reading could probably read this one. And I gave it 4 stars.
You're having a good stretch there, Norbert. Yeah, you need your pets, don't you? You need more pets.
So it's Thursday, and I'm about to go grocery shopping with my dad, but first I wanted to talk a little bit about Mihi Ever After, and how I'm not sure if it's actually right for this readathon, because the author bio says she was raised in Hawaii, but that doesn't mean she's indigenous Hawaiian, and she could be from one of the other, she could be racially from a different Polynesian place, but it doesn't say that, so I'm not sure. And I got this off the Storygraph list, which is more expansive than the list that the original creators made, so I thought that the people who were crowdsourcing the Storygraph list were like knew for sure that these were indigenous Polynesian voices, but that has turned out not to be the case with a few books, so I'm not sure about this one. So I'm going to donate money for this one, but I'm not going to read the second book in the series for this readathon. So to solve the library problem a little bit, I did request that my library buy one of the books from the original list, which is Va, Stories by the Women of Moana, which is a collection of short stories by Polynesian women authors. So hopefully that comes in soon. Sometimes those requests take quite a while, but Kahula has quite a backlist, so I can't always read a bunch of those. And they're romances, so they're easy to read quickly. I do have a few other possible library books coming in, but I will also be checking them individually. So that's what I'm doing going forward. So I finished another book called A Cave Witch Valentine's, and this is about the goddess Hel, H-E-L, who I think was a goddess of war, and now she's retired and she does deals for mortals. So you can exchange something important to you, or some kind of act of service for to make something happen. And it's only about 80 pages, so it's very short, and it has a little scene between her and 3 soldiers who want her blessing so that they'll survive being deployed, and which is a sex scene. And then a little spa day she has with a friend of hers and stuff like that. So it's very cute and sweet. I really enjoyed the spa day bits. And I would really like to see more of these characters, because like they're really interesting little cameos. So I'd really like to get to know them better. So I hope that there are more like short stories or novellas set in with these characters. 4.5 stars. So I'm currently watching some recommendations of a diverse gothic books by Olivia's Catastrophe, because Olivia Savannah just put out an announcement that there's going to be Gothtober, and I want to start getting my videos ready for September, so I'm making up my TBR. And Sam is hanging out with me on my chair. Hi Sam, you're so good. You're so good. Yeah. So speaking of wildfires, this is what our view out our back looks like, and the light is all yellow. It's coming from a wildfire in Medical Lake, where they have had to evacuate, which is just south of Spokane. Yeah, those people hope they're gonna be okay. Fires that have been just north in Canada, that have been going since July. And then the report that I was looking at in the New York Times actually mentioned Yellowknife, which is up in the Northwest Territories. So there are pretty bad wildfires up in the Northwest Territories, specifically around Yellowknife, and a lot of indigenous communities up there who, fortunately, their roads out of town were closed for a while, but fortunately they were eventually able to evacuate yesterday. They are also going to need some support, so I will try to find pertinent information to link below for that as well. I'm feeling real sleepy, possibly because I've been crocheting, which makes me sleepy, while I listen to On Fire, the burning case for a Green New Deal, which fits under the climate action nonfiction description for this readathon. Yeah, it's not a lot of new information, like stuff like capitalism being incompatible with saving the planet. I knew that. It's also incompatible with a lot of human rights. I like how it's talking about how we don't want ecofascism. We don't want to ignore human rights violations and try to like greenify things whilst trampling further on the global south and indigenous peoples, letting there be sacrifice zones where mostly black people live, where we're like, oh, it's okay to pollute there and have the air be horrible because it's just poor black people living there. So I like how it's talking about that as well, and not just saying, oh, as long as you plant trees, it's okay, even if you like take indigenous people's lands to plant your invasive species trees on. So stuff like that, and stuff like individual consumer choices are not nearly as important as collective action. And yeah, there's a whole section on Greta Thunberg, who's really cool. She's autistic, and there's a bit of a discussion about how her autism relates to her not being able to deal with the cognitive dissonance that is knowing intellectually that the planet is being destroyed, and but still living your normal life and not caring about that. So those are all really interesting aspects. It is a bit repetitive because it's an essay collection, so some of the points that are made in previous essays are made again in a different essay. But there's a fair amount of stuff being covered. Yeah, I'm about 2/3 of the way through it, so we'll see if I can finish it today. Because I'd like to finish the vlog today so that I can edit it and get it up on Tuesday.
You're so freaking cute.
So the third book I finished is Prism Stalker by Sloan Leong. This is a sci-fi. It has some very body horror-y, creepy illustrations, and it is about some refugees, a particular refugee who is taken away from her family to go learn in an academy how to colonize, be warriors that help colonize another planet. So she's being beaten down by the system and is simultaneously being made into a part of the system that's going to beat down other people. Yeah, it's pretty dark. On this planet, you're able to manipulate matter and other people's minds with your mind. So that's a big part of it. And trying to figure out how to survive while also realizing that the more you thrive within this system, the more you're harming the indigenous people of this planet. And yeah, there's going to be lots more about that in the following issues, volumes, and I think the library has the next volume, so I'm going to go ahead and request that as well. Yeah, it's really well done. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's a big old master sword. It's really quite long. I'm gonna mount it on my wall and also probably use it as a video prop a fair amount. It's pretty solid. It's made of foam, and it's from the Goblin Smith, which is in downtown Kennewick. Then we also have a new pink stuffed animal for my collection. Neither of these was too expensive. It's a river otter with a little curly tail. A fair amount of my birthday money went to this third thing, which is a electric scooter, because there are rentable electric scooters in Spokane and I really love them. So now I have my own, which is going to end up being a lot cheaper than renting them. Okay, so it's Sunday. I did not get that last audiobook done. I'm going to call it and I'm going to go ahead and rate it for this video. So I think I'm going to give it 4 stars because it has a lot of really good information, all those good points, but it does have the detractor of it does get a bit repetitive multiple times. Fortunately, there's a review on Goodreads that lists a bunch of books that go into greater depth on a bunch of the topics that this author brings up. So I'll see if I can link that below as well if you want to know more. So that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to leave an emoji, how about some kind of blade, a sword, or a knife for my master sword, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!